triple threat. Yeah.
Please stand for the invocation and pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, Lord. Thank you for the rain that we received this afternoon, as it was much needed. Lord, I just pray that you watch over our meeting this evening and lead the council in its decisions. Lord, just thank you for each one of us. Thank you for our citizens in this city. In your name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call to order this special called meeting March 31st, 2025. I need a motion to go into the public hearing. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
All in favor, show of hands. Passed.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to discuss a proposed ordinance that would amend the Unified Development Code of the City of Statham, specifically amending the use table, Table 2.1, for conditional and permitted uses within the LI, or Light Industrial Zoning District. Nikki, if you would mind please pulling up the current zoning map. So as y'all know, our zoning ordinance, our Unified Development Ordinance, or the UDO or UDC, Unified Development Code, creates certain zoning districts in the city of Statham that govern the uses that can take place on those various properties. If you think of zoning in terms of a spectrum, you have on one end of the spectrum zoning districts that we would consider non-intense uses or lower intensity uses. The lowest is RR, rural residential. Think of these as your larger estate lots, your agricultural uses, your farms, those types of properties. That's on one end of the spectrum. And on the other end of the spectrum, the highest density or the highest intensity classification that we have are light industrial, or LI as you see. On the map, these are designated in the dark or neon purple. There's really four pockets of LI properties in the city of Statham. You have this one down here off of Bethlehem Road, across, this is the Army Depot, and you have these highway business districts next to it. You have the properties off of Statham Drive, so if you turn on Bethlehem Road, they're located right here behind business. This is, of course, where 8th Street comes into 29. And then you have light industrial properties up here. This is Dooleytown Road. This is Pleasant Hill Road coming up here. So these properties right on the north side of the train tracks as you're coming into the city limits. The table 2.1 of the UDC outlines various uses, and there are three ways that table identifies properties, or uses, I should say. First is with an X, indicating that the particular use is not permitted in that zoning classification. The second is with the letter P. P is permitted. That means it's permitted as a matter of right. If anybody comes in and they want to engage in one of those uses, they do not have to come before City Council for any kind of special permission, any kind of check on the use. They simply get their business license or their LDP, their land disturbance permit, and they can commence that use immediately. The third is conditional use. Conditional use, or in other jurisdictions you sometimes hear it called special use, requires an application and a grant of permission from the zoning authority, i.e. the City Council. And at that time, the City Council has the right to impose whatever conditions it sees appropriate on that use. It also has the ability to say, no, we don't think that use is appropriate for that specific piece of property. The reason for tonight's ordinance and the reason for this consideration and this proposed change to our UDC, over the last year and a half or even 2 years, there have been a myriad of parties that have come into City Hall and inquired about different uses on LI properties. And through informal discussions with city council members, with the mayor, with the staff, with Jerry Whites, our contract planner, there's different concerns that were raised about those particular uses themselves, and whether or not we should allow them as a matter of right, or whether they should be banned outright in the city of Statham. And so what we decided to do was to take a comprehensive look at that use table and say, make adjustments based upon the way that Statham is developing, the way that Statham has changed, its demographics, its land uses, the development of residential subdivisions, the development of businesses and what have you. Do we need to make some tweaks to that use table to bring it more in line, to make sure that we're not creating friction or tension, so to speak, between adjacent property owners and different uses? As you understand zoning really is a balancing act. It's allowing the highest and best use of properties while also recognizing that uses on one property have impacts on adjacent properties and surrounding properties. And so we're trying to balance those competing interests, frankly. The way that we went about this was all council members obviously were asked to look over table 2.1. And they provided their thoughts and their feedback. Should we make a change to make something not permitted, to make something go from permitted to conditional, to take something that wasn't permitted and make it permitted or conditional? And once I received the feedback of all 5 council members, I synthesized that and said, okay, I kind of followed the rule of twos. If at least 2 members of the council want a change, I'm going to include it in the draft ordinance. And I'm going to change it to what they propose. If it was just one council member that wanted that change, I did not make that change. And it was not, I don't want to say discarded, but it was not put in for consideration. So with that, I want a couple of things about how you read this, the questions that you need to ask, and the considerations that you need to think about when you're making a decision about this proposed ordinance. First of all, I would encourage you not to think about this particular LI and somebody who's approached us about a specific use for this LI. Okay, we are not here tonight to decide whether a specific project on a specific property is a good idea. We are here tonight to answer the question of, generally speaking, on any LI property, is a particular use automatically no, automatically okay, or we want to be more thoughtful and take a more measured consideration of that particular use. The second thing I want you to be mindful of is, just because a property is not zoned LI now, or is zoned LI, doesn't prohibit somebody from coming and requesting a change. So for example, this large O&I property that's adjacent to LI, a user could come along tomorrow and make a request that this be rezoned LI. So understand that this is a living document. It can change at any time. So I want you to think more globally about LI uses than a specific use. Okay, that's very, very, very important. Second, as this ordinance is drafted, y'all really have 3 options. Option 1 is you don't have to adopt this ordinance. You can say we're happy with the use table exactly as it is. We're not going to make any changes. Second option is you can adopt this exactly as written, in which case these changes would go into effect immediately. And as you know, we have a moratorium on any business license or permits for this particular zoning classification. It would go into effect immediately, and starting tomorrow, that would be the new use table. Or option 3, you can make decisions that, you know what, having thought about this a little bit more, we want to amend this and we'd rather make them conditional. Or you can take some of these conditional and say, you know what, we're okay with them, we're going to make them full permitted. You can make those amendments. And just so you understand the parliamentary process, the way you would do that is you would say, we want to make a motion to amend the proposed ordinance. This is after the close of the public hearing. This is when we get to the voting part of it. Make a motion to amend so that the following uses are not permitted, following uses are conditional, everything else stays the same, et cetera, et cetera. And then we would vote to approve that amendment, and then you would make a motion to approve as amended. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the process or these specific changes that you see on the piece of paper. Very good.
Let me check and see. Hey, Scott, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay, all right. I would like to make a motion to amend.
Now's not the time. We have to have the public hearing, so
Oh,
anybody
okay.
that wants to have input is welcome
Okay.
to
All right.
come and have input first. And
Okay.
then after the close of the public hearing, we can make
Okay.
a motion to amend.
Okay, all right.
So Mayor, at this time, if there's no questions for me, you can open the floor for public comment.
Okay. Anybody have any, does anybody want to come forward from the public?
I have a couple of questions I want to ask. I'm not really sure what this entails or what y'all changed, because I hadn't looked at this closer, unless this is an older.
Misty, could you come and state
Yeah.
your name and your address? I'm
You
sorry.
got to speak into the
Speak into the microphone.
microphone,
Okay,
please.
it's Gail Steve, 49 Price Street. I just had wondered, have y'all changed anything over on the other side of Old Highway 29, over near 316 area?
When you say change, you mean have any properties been rezoned?
Because right now, where the DOT is coming through, which is across from me, that was zoned highway business. Well, it can't be highway business because there's going to be a cul-de-sac there, and it's going to have to be more like residential.
What you're seeing right now is the official map. I'm pretty sure it has been updated with all rezonings. But no, there has been no rezoning applications made that I'm aware of, or any changes. They would obviously have to have been voted upon.
So when will y'all adopt those changes? Because you can't have highway business coming in over there where there's cul-de-sac and there's residential property there.
They won't be changed until there's a need to change, and unless it's,
So
usually properties are rezoned based upon application of the property owners, typically.
Okay, so RDC is, or no one's actually updating all of your property? All of the property hasn't been updated or anything? Or is this an old map, or I'm not really understanding?
So the current map that you're looking at right now was last adopted and approved, I believe, in 2020. Yeah, that's right.
And so when will you be adopting another one?
The zoning map, generally speaking, doesn't just get updated for that sake. So there's no set time. It's usually just done on a case-by-case basis as people come in.
So right now then, if that property is highway business, if it's highway business, and the cul-de-sac comes in town there and it's closed off from the highway, how can someone come in there and put a highway business on there?
If it's zoned that way and it's a allowable use, they could do it as a matter of right. But again, that's not what's being discussed tonight. That's outside the scope of tonight's public hearing. Tonight's only about the amendment to the use table for LI.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't have any questions about that. I'm just wondering when that's gonna change, because that can't be highway business anymore, because it's not on the highway. It's in a subdivision. That's all I have to say about it. That's what I have to say to all of y'all.
Okay.
Something needs to be done about over there on that property,
Yeah.
because they're of course they've cleared all that off. If any of you have ridden over by there and
Yeah.
seen it, Debbie probably has, but I don't know whether any of you ride over there and see what all's being done over there. And so I was just wondering how that would change.
It could, again, the two ways that properties can be rezoned is, one, property owner can come in and request a change,
Right.
or in some instances, and this usually is done with a comprehensive overhaul of the zoning ordinance. I'm answering your question. Generally speaking, when a city decides to make a complete look at a map change for the whole city, it usually is done in conjunction with a complete overhaul of the zoning ordinance, which is not what we're doing tonight.
Well, I guess basically that's what I was wondering, when y'all were gonna do another comprehensive plan.
Yeah, but with this 316 coming, it will have to.
It needs
we'll
to
have
be done.
look at it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really does. Thank you.
Good evening, council. I'm David Shockley, and I spoke to you before about the light industrial, and the one at the very top is the one that I represent the client who owns part of that purple, not all of it, but he owns about 25 acres right in that, right off Dooleytown Road, right about where that LI is at. And I also represent the the company that wants to relocate his business there. And thank you, Jody, for sharing me the changes. I know salvage yard is one of the items that's being considered to be eliminated from the code entirely. And I'm here to just request that, as opposed to you eliminating that salvage yard entirely, but to consider conditions or even a special use permit to be able to develop that property. I understand the salvage yard and the look that it's going to give to the neighboring, but I sent a drawing to Scott. I didn't know he wasn't going to be here. I don't know if he shared it with you guys, but within the 25 acres that my client is selling, my buyer only wants to use a small portion of it on the interior of it. So if you would consider conditions on the property as opposed to eliminating the entirely eliminating salvage yards, we would be glad, my buyer, who would be glad to adopt whatever conditions you want, whether it be setbacks, fencing, cypress trees, whatever. We understand the nature of not wanting a salvage yard in your city, but at the same time, nobody's even going to see the salvage yard except for the truck that goes in and out periodically to bring a car in and out. So I'm just here to represent the landowner. He's trying to sell it to a gentleman who wants to bring a business out of Gwinnett County to Statham. And if you have any questions, and I did draw a little image that kind of shows the site plan of what he was intended on doing. I don't know if you've seen it or you want to see it. It may not matter, but that's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
I just had a quick question.
Come forward.
Grant Whitworth, where do you get a copy of the ordinance? I didn't see it with the agenda or anything, the proposed changes. Is that, I didn't see one up there, and I can, because I don't,
We have
I can't necessarily ask questions.
Do we have copies of the proposed ordinance out on the table?
I saw your agenda, but I did not.
Yeah, the
Here you
agenda,
go.
there was just an agenda.
Sure, here you go.
No, I'm just,
I'm pretty sure that,
I
did
really
we
don't
put this
have any
online?
comments. I just haven't had a chance to look at what the changes are, but, that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Do you need a copy? Sure. There you go.
Okay. I need a motion to come out of public hearing.
I'll make a motion to come out.
All in favor, show of hands. Okay.
Scott, vote.
Yeah.
Scott, did you
there?
vote?
He's sick. So,
Seriously. Okay, so do we go ahead and?
Well, if the council has a motion, they can make it at this time.
I would like to make a motion to amend the two items, section 1, the prohibited businesses. I'd like to change the salvage yard and the wrecked motor vehicle compound from prohibited to conditional.
So I have a motion. Is there a second?
Is there a second? All in favor, show of hands.
Scott was saying.
Scott's, okay. All, is all approved. Okay,
So then you need to make a motion to approve as amended, or to reject as amended, as the case may be.
I need a motion to approve as rejected.
Or as amended.
As amended, as amended.
I'll approve. Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, show of hands. Scott?
Scott?
Okay. All right. So
That's
we're
it.
done? All right. I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I need a second. All in favor? Show of hands. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thanks, Scott. Hope you feel better. All right.
And thank you, Frank, for coming. I know you don't feel good either.